Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to Celtic Doom D&D. Certainly hope this is finding you well. So, one of you suggested for our first spell of the week is to go with the Warlock spellcasting class. Which I find that class to be interesting mostly because of the way the spell slots work. I won't go into terrible detail about that because, we can save that for a different video. Anyway, I figure what we could start with is with this Warlock, we can look into the cantrips. Now, I feel like one of them that is a Warlock specific and a Warlock favorite is the Eldritch Blast, of course. Which, I've used many times in my games as well. Combining that with some Sorcerer multi-class as well as some Spell Sniper feats, it can definitely change you into a bit of an Arcane Ranger when you think about it. And it can be definitely overpowered, maybe a little bit intense. But I feel like the Eldritch Blast is definitely a really good bread and butter spell. I mean, obviously a lot of the Warlock is built around it. I mean, that goes without saying. But I mean, for example, if you took like Magic Initiate or something like that, I feel like that'd be an amazing cantrip to have. So it's one action, obviously. It's an evocation. Range 120 feet. So if we go in, like I said, this whole sorcerer thing, you get extended spell and then spell sniper, and then it just gets unbelievably distanced with that. Verbal somatic. One of the cool things I think about spells with the verbals is a good thing of RP and character flair is that you could definitely toss in some words, depending on your patron, your pact. Your character would probably maybe recite in Sylvan, or should I say Slyvan, pardon me, or Elven, depending upon whether you're going to the Fiend Pact. I know that they have some Unearthed Arcana packs that I haven't really looked into. If you guys want me to start doing some research into those, I'll definitely do that. But the cool thing is, obviously it's an instantaneous thing. A beam of crackling energy streaks towards a creature within range. Making a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage. One of the benefits I think about the spell really is it creates more than one beam when you get to higher levels. 2 beams at 5th, 3 beams at 11th, and 4 beams at 17th level. You can direct the beams at the same target or at different ones, make a separate attack roll for each beam. And this kind of goes back to the whole thing I was saying about making Warlocks almost like Arcane Rangers, because you don't need the bow, but you can do similar things like when you get to the higher levels in Ranger, where you can start to, you're better at taking on hordes rather than single enemies or so on and so forth. One story I have for this is I remember using it. I was playing a Black Half Dragon in our game in the Out of the Abyss. I recommend it. My group kind of calls it D&D hard mode, and it can definitely be that, especially if you're used to RP heavy rather than survival heavy. And it's one of those things that, becoming a turret at nearly 2 football fields length, especially if you couple that with, I don't know what it was exactly, the Eldritch Force per se, where it allows you to actually push the opponent back a certain distance after you've made this attack successfully, on top of doing different things that can definitely affect with them getting in range. Of course, it can definitely affect that. Let's see here, Eldritch Sight, which isn't exactly located, but if you're going to be playing an Eldritch Warlock, sometimes you like to have things that are worded correctly. Eldritch Spear is kind of one of the things that goes off of that in the Warlock class here. When you cast Eldritch Blast, it's range 300 feet. So that evocation right there already more than doubles it, and then you can double it with Spell Sniper. And then, let's see. What is the name of it? Repelling Blast. That's what I was thinking about a minute ago. Where you get, basically when you hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push this creature up to 10 feet away from you in a straight line. So, if they have a movement speed of 30, they're moving 6 squares, you push them back to, and if they're 60 squares out, you're going to kill them before they get to you, more than likely. In my personal opinion, my personal favorite caster class would be the Warlock class. Like I said, the only thing that I think is interesting. I'm glad that they did this simply because of how powerful the Warlock is, even with these spell slot specials. I feel like they're one of the few classes that can be extremely RP heavy. Like with our group, I I like to take the Fiend Pact. That always seems to bite me in the butt later for RP reasons. But yeah, basically for the first spell of the week, we went over the Eldritch Blast. Maybe a few tips or tricks to, make it a little more useful for you. Because if you're really going for a utility heavy caster per se, especially with the Warlock, you're gonna want to rely on your cantrips. And so the big thing with the Eldritch Blast is obviously, it can become your bread and butter depending on how you move things around, which is kind of exciting in that own regard. But this video is all but done. Today, again, like I said, we did the cantrip Eldritch Blast. Went over a few tips and tricks, as I said earlier. And look for Monster Monday coming up tomorrow. Celtic Doom, over and out.